Hello everybody, this is a Lamley unboxing. Matchbox 2025 M case. I do not believe this has been seen by anybody. It hasn't been seen by me. I actually looked it up. This came from Mattel, and I have not done an early Matchbox unboxing in a while, so I might be unveiling some new stuff today. So let's get right to it. Let's see what's inside. And then maybe if there's a couple of models, I don't know, we'll just see where this video goes. You got to start with the unboxing. Since there's 24 models, I like to give you more than maybe, you're used to. In fact, this is taped differently. There's tape on the sides too, so that's kind of interesting. This one this was shipped by Mattel from Asia, so it might be really early, so I'm very, very excited. Matchbox Gathering is this weekend, and so this is a good prep for the gathering, and we'll be seeing 2026 models. They'll be sneak peeking that kind of stuff. I'm going to be shooting some sneak peeks. In fact, go down, I'll put a link to the live stream that will be Saturday night from Albuquerque of their presentation, and then it's just going to be a lot of Matchbox stuff. There's even a whatnot show with a ton. I did a loose show the other day, have some cool stuff that I'm going to be putting up as kind of a special show and giveaway show, so you want to bookmark that too. Anyway, that's enough. Enough promo. Let's just get to it. I always forget when I open these up that in order to do it, let's see here, like this. Wow. Oh, I see Harry Potter. Always well, let's just do. Okay. We got some new stuff. Let's just get right to it, and we start with the 2025 Polaris Razor Pro R4 Sport. That's new for 2025. There that is. I don't know razors too much, but that looks like the razors that make a ruckus driving down Moab Main Street that they're trying to ban from driving down Main Street. And I'll just sound like grumpy old man. I hope they do, but I know these are great side-by-sides off-road, so that's cool. New model. 2016 Nissan Sentra. We've seen a few colors of this one. I think that's a wheel we haven't seen on the Sentra before in black. That's kind of nice. Look at this. Okay, now here we go. There's something. Another Sentra, but this is brand new. I didn't even know they were doing this. Alfa Romeo Duetto. Am I saying that right? You Alfa Romeo fans or Italian speakers can tell me if I have that right. This is fabulous. We'll have to do like maybe I'll have to, oh my gosh, this is great. I would say compare that to the Giulia. Maybe we'll do something like that. That is a beautiful car. Obviously new casting for 2026, and it looks amazing. All right, that is a massive highlight for sure. Skidster in the, what is that? Not ink. Ink is blue. There's another. This is a Herald. Anyway, Skidster. We've seen that. Looks like we got a couple of Skidsters. And the 2018 Dodge Durango. Nice to see that one in the main line. We've seen it maybe once or twice. That one's kind of cool. Harry Potter. Seems like when they get these licenses, they will put these cars in a few times. They did there's an opening door version of the Harry Potter Ford Anglia. And there's also this mainline version, which obviously doesn't have any opening parts. So there's a Harry Potter mod. They've done that with the Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park and stuff like that. So they show up twice. Skidster. So what do they call them? Carry forwards. Garbage King. We just had the EV in recently in the other case that we opened, right? So this is the original Garbage King. Well, they converted it to plastic part anyway. And the 2016 Fiat 500X. Guess we could grade this case, huh? We should grade it. Another Garbage King. So the repeat so far, considering we have this beautiful Alfa Romeo and only one, that's a bit of a bummer. And we get two of the Skidsters and everything else. I have no idea. Sometimes I do know that like the overall case has its entire budget. And so they're like, say, well, if this car costs this much to produce, let's put more cars that will cost less to produce to hit the number we need to hit. Which is fine, but then it leaves you as a bummer because there's only one of these in the case. I'm sure there'll be a repeat in the next case. But anyway, 1986 Volvo 240. I think this is the third color. That's a highlight for sure. I really dig that casting. Oh. 1966 Land Rover Gen 2 in Safari Park livery. I've seen that a few times. And this isn't new, is it? Well, boy, no, wasn't there a 69 Mustang or 70 Mustang that is in moving parts with an opening hood? 1968 Ford Mustang Fastback. What's the year on this? It says 2025. So I'm guessing, okay, I'm going to do some math here. This is not a new casting, but I think it's an updated casting of the original Mustang Fastback, and which is a bit of a remedial casting because there's 2025, but they're not marking it as new. So I'm assuming it's updated. The original Mustang Fastback is kind of, the proportions are way off. And I did see that they're doing a, there's some hints they've been giving because Matchbox Mattel donated some pre-production models for the charity auction at the Gathering next week, which have been shared on MBX Gathering. In fact, I'll do a link to their account, the IG account. And there is a prototype of this model. So, okay. So anyway, I know I'm doing a lot of explaining here. So this is not new, but new, if that makes sense. But the proportions look really good on this. That's very much a welcome highlight to this case. And then we get repeats. So thankfully we get 2 of the Mustang. That's very nice. All right, keep on going. Oh, National Parks. But we have a Scania XT fire truck first, which is going to make people excited. New casting. And it seems to have a fair amount of metal. That's what you're always looking for with these. And there's some good weight to this one. That might be, well, there's 2 of them. That might be one of the reasons this case is laid out the way it is, because that's a heavy model and there might be some budget in that. There always is. That is definitely a highlight. And look, National Parks returns with the ground grinder. Always excited for National Parks. We'll definitely add this one to the National Parks collection, which continues to grow, and I hope it never ends. Art is fabulous on this one too. So there's another highlight. Okay, now this case is starting to come together. It looks like there's only 1 National Parks, which is a bit of a bummer. Second Scania. Nissan Ariya pole-to-pole. That's new. I think there was an Ariya in, am I saying that right? I hope it is. I hope I am. So this is like probably a modified, like factory modification Ariya. I don't know too much about this. It's an EV, I know that. And so this is obviously an off-road version of that. We'll put it in the highlight pile, of course. I guess I should put the Razor in there. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, Range Rover PE. Oh, this is new too. Wow. Okay, we're getting a lot of new castings. 2024 Range Rover PHEV. So this is an EV Range Rover, I guess, right? PHEV. I'm assuming that's what it is. Originally I see that and I think that it's just a version of the there's an opening parts Range Rover, right? But this is new as well. So that's awesome. Okay, that goes in the highlight pile. Now this case is really, oh, okay. And the 2024 Subaru WRX S4 STI in this case as well. How fabulous is that? So that's new. I might have to do a whole separate video opening these up, honestly. And last but not least, and boy, I just saw this. So we have a second Subaru, which is nice, but here's the highlight for me. This is one of my truly favorite Matchbox castings. The BMW 1M in white with black wheels. Okay, this makes me smile because there's on the license plate 1M. Abe, who... This is all Abe's work here. He's no longer with Matchbox, but Abe and I have had a conversation, and he did say at one point, what is something you want to see? And I said, I love the BMW 1M casting. I would love to see it in white with black rims. And guess what? I'm not saying it was me. I'm not saying it was me. But this is something I have on more than a few occasions asked for, and knowing that other people might like it too. I love this. Let's do a car show on this one. We'll do a car show on the BMW 1M, and then we'll do a separate video where I open up these new models, and we'll kind of do like a new model update with Matchbox. Maybe once I get to the Gathering and I can make sure I have everything, we'll do a video after the Gathering on new models. But let's do a 1M show. Okay, there you go. Highlights for this one. You want to grade it? That's fabulous. New model, new model, new model. Oops. New model. New model, but not new model. Just a nice one. Fabulous new model. There's your, I think new model highlight would be that one. And then I let's just get it out because I didn't have it. The Polaris is a new model as well. So several new models out of 24. 1, 2, 3, all licensed. 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 new models plus a national parks. For a 24 count case, that's an A, and they're good. They're good. So that's an A. That's an A case for me. I would like to see. I'd give it an A minus because you want to see the Alfa Romeo get a repeat. But some of the other ones, like the Subaru, got it, and some others, so it's not terrible. And I think that Subaru will be popular. So that's an A. Let's do a BMW 1M car show. Okay, so I'll give you a close up. I'm not going to open this one just yet. I'm just going to give you a close up. You'll get a sense of the casting. So BMW 1M. I don't know what was the year on this one. 2013, so it's already 12 years old. I have loved this casting since it came out. And I'm not alone in this. It doesn't make me unique. But the BMW 1M, it's still one of my, I think it's still my favorite segment from the original Top Gear when Jeremy Clarkson drove this car and just fell completely in love with it. And this is one I would like it's probably gotten to classic status at this point, the 1M. I would love to actually own one. You could definitely say that these two are companion pieces from 2020 for 2025. Obviously the 1M from 12, 13 years ago, and the M2 really vibes, I think, similarly in real life, right? It just seems, I really like the design of the M2. I have not liked a lot of the designs of the BMWs of late, but I really like the design of the M2. And I, in the same way, I like the design of the 1M, these kind of small, high-performance BMWs. I just think are so cool. So you could say that's part of the car show. And I just ran in and I got my collection. There's my M2, or my BMW M2. But I've got a pretty decent 1M collection, including some pieces that, well, let's just do it. Let's just use this little parking lot and show them off. So open up the case and maybe we can put them on the turntable too. But we start with this. This is the original 1M in its signature orange color. So this would be, I mean, if you want to build this collection. Now, some people will say this casting, you know, it's a representation of the 1M. I'm sure there's some details on this that aren't exact, you know, aren't totally on, but I do love the essence of this, and I just love the casting. It did capture that the 1M is a small model, right? And I think that this orange one, you know, that was kind of the signature color. But yeah, so that was a good one. And then it was recolored again. I couldn't tell you if there was only one orange that year. But yeah, so there's that one. In blue, it was recolored. So orange and blue. Then we saw it in red, this time with the 6-spoke wheels. I like the 10 spokes better on this. But I've always wanted the 5-spoke, so we get that one, which is really cool now. So this is the first time I think it's had the 5-spoke wheels, which I think really work on this. So I'll open it later. How about this one? This is from that Best Of series. Now the tread on the tires makes it look a little off-roady, but the car itself is cool because you've got this gloss black plus the orange stripe and matte black. I just love the way they designed this one. I thought it was just a very cool Best of the World, I think was the title of this line. And I think that's a very, very nice version of the BMW 1M. They all go, I mean, you want plain colors. I think so far my favorite was the orange. Then they put out, then I really like that black version. Then they put out this, what would you call that? Not bronze. Maybe bronze? I don't know. But you see these cars essentially this was an era, I'll show you something. This is something that you saw a lot. They had to kind of shrink just because they could only do 2 passes, one front, one back. So they had to kind of shrink the taillights just a tad. And that, you know, that when you focus on it, it might annoy you. But ultimately it's, you know, it is what they did. I want to see. It's better now. Still not perfect, but it gets 2 passes, but they've been able to attach it just a little bit better. 10-pack exclusive. You know, I want to see 1M, M1. Okay, so I do want to tell you this one. See that? Now, people, when this came out, and they actually marked it on the package as the M1, and people had a conniption fit. They were like, why would Matchbox be so stupid to develop this casting and then call it the M1? And I'll defend Matchbox in this one because BMW told them to. In the history of the 1M, obviously the M1 is a legendary car from the 70s, right? 70s, early 80s, race car. And for some reason, at some point, someone at BMW, I don't know who, decided that they needed to be consistent, you know, so like M3, M4, M5, and call it the M1. But they originally, just to differentiate from the classic M1, they called it the 1M, and that's how everyone remembered it. But BMW kind of got caught up in that for a minute and asked Matchbox to call it the M1 for a minute, which leads to this one. This was the Leipzig show exclusive in 2013, and look what they had to call it, the BMW M1. And again, they got so much grief, like, oh, how could Matchbox be so stupid? They weren't. They were told to do it. The only way we could get it released was to call it the M1, was for Matchbox to call it the M1, and they had to do this. This was 2014. Which is, you know, frustrating because eventually BMW got wise and said, oh yeah, we should just, it's the M1, we should just call it the M1. Or, I'm sorry, the 1M. See, now I'm confused. And yeah, anyway, they figured that out. And so, but now Matchbox has that history of, if people don't know it, of calling the 1M the M1 for a brief period of time. But then they went back to the 1M, and there we saw it. This version's fabulous too. The gray with the dark 10-spoke rims. This was a 10-pack exclusive or 9-pack exclusive. I actually found one recently sitting on a shelf at a Smith's, which is like a Kroger store. I bought it just because it was so old. And then I have a couple that have never been released before. Well, never been released because this is the pre-production model. That was auctioned off at the charity auction. I mentioned the charity auction earlier in this video. This was, I don't know what year, 2000, well, this was the 11th gathering. I don't know what year that was. But I went in a battle with the Lee and Lamley. I'm the Lamb and Lamley, and my friend David Tilley, who's the Lee and Lamley. He and I went head to head trying to win this auction. I eventually won it. Barbie interior is what they call it, and this is the pre-production. I really wanted this one because I like the car, and this is one that I was able to, when I was Matchbox ambassador, unveil, and I noticed that the paint chips were the exact car that they had sent pictures of, and I wanted it. So I have this pre-production. That ABQ, they burned that in there just to make it legit that you know it came from Mattel. They did it at the time. I don't know if they still do. So there's that one, and then this one that came for me to do a preview on years and years ago, and it never was released, but I still have it. It was a big cat line that they were going to do, and they never ended up doing it. There's Edith. I said cat. You see what happened? She's going to go find this cat that doesn't exist. I think that was just dumb luck. Anyway, this big cat version that was never released, and I've always enjoyed having that in the collection. So there it is. All of the BMW 1Ms, and then I guess you can add to it the M2, which I think is a good legacy model. That's a nice family of cars, and Edith is unhappy. You guys tell me what you think. What do you think of the case? What are your highlights? What do you give it a grade? What do you want? What are you looking for? What do you think of this BMW 1M/M1? One of my favorite Matchbox collections, and I am so excited to add the white model to that family. All right, you guys tell me what you think. Thanks, everybody. Bye.